Okay, hello Cloud Gurus and welcome to this lecture. In this lecture, we're going to look at KMS API calls, and this is the main thing that you're going to be tested on in the Certified Developer Associate exam. So the best way to do this is we're going to create a little EC2 instance. We could do the API calls using Python or Java or PHP or whatever. I'm actually just going to do it at the command line because it's a lot easier, and then that way it doesn't matter what language you know, you'll be able to follow it. So if you've got the time, please join me in the AWS console. Okay, so here I am in the AWS console. I'm just going to change my region. Make sure you provision your EC2 instance in the same region where you provisioned your KMS key in the last lecture. So I did mine in London. I'm going to go over to EC2 and I'm going to go ahead and launch an instance. I seem to already have a running instance, which is annoying because it's costing me money. So quickly going to terminate this instance state terminate, and go ahead and hit yes. And then I'm going to go ahead and launch a new instance. I'm going to use the Amazon Linux AMI. I'm going to configure some of my instance details. Just leave everything as default. All we're using this instance for is to use the command line. I'm going to go ahead and add my tags. I'm not going to tag it for anything. I'm going to select an existing security group. So hopefully you've got a security group with port 80 and port 22 open. If you don't, just go ahead and create one. I'm going to go ahead and hit review and launch, and then I'm going to go ahead and launch my instance. I'm going to create a new key pair because I'm not actually sure where my last key pair was. So I'm just going to call it my London KP, so my London KP, and download that key pair. I'm just going to close this, and I'm going to go ahead and hit launch. It's going to take a couple of minutes. While I do that, I did not note down my secret access key for my user. So my user who's going to do the encryption and decryption, what I need to do is just click on encryption keys and make sure you change your region to where it is that you were based. So mine's EU London. Here's my encryption key in here. So my user who was going to do it, let's just have a quick look. So here's our key administrators. So this is my key manager. That's the person who administrates the key. My key user is called my encryptor. And you can actually also add external accounts to use this key to encrypt and decrypt. So be aware of that as well. But you can't yet add an external account to do the actual management of the key. So my username is encryptor. So let's go over to users and grab my encryptor in here. And what I want to do is their security credentials. Essentially what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that access key inactive, and then I'm going to go ahead and delete it. And then I'm going to create a new access key. So create access key. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this secret access key into my clipboard, and I might even just paste it into a notepad so I have it for a little bit later. Okay, so now I'm going to just go back over to EC2. I'm going to grab my public IP address, so running instance, and I'm just going to grab this public IP address in there. And then what I'm going to do now is SSH into my EC2 instance. Okay, so I'm in my terminal window. I'm going to run chmod 400 for my London key pair.pem. You would only need to do this in OS X. If you're using PuTTY or anything else in Windows, you don't need to do that. And I'm now able to SSH to EC2-user and then then my public IP address in there, -i, and then my key name. So my London key pair.pem. Sure you want to continue? I'm going to hit yes. Going to elevate my privileges to root, so sudo su, and I'm going to go ahead and clear the screen. Okay, so we're now ready to start using the command line. So let's go ahead and create a plain text file that we're going to encrypt. So I'm just going to type in echo hello cloud gurus, and then I'm going to output this to secret.txt. And if we want to type in ls, we can see secret.txt there. If we want to read the contents, we just type cat secret.txt, and we can see hello cloud gurus. Now what we want to do is we want to go ahead and encrypt this using our encryption key. Before we can do this, what we need to do is configure our user account. So we need to just run AWS configure, and we're going to have to pass AWS our access key ID and our secret access key. So my access key ID is this. My secret access key is this. My default region name. Now I am using London, which is EU West 2. So I'm going to type EU West and then 2. So that will put me into London. Make sure you type the default region name for the region where your KMS key is stored. Remember, KMS is regional. It is not global, despite the rest of IAM being global. And I'm just going to leave my default output format as default. So what I want to do now is I want to take my secret.txt and I want to encrypt this. I'm going to clear the screen just to make it a lot easier to see. And you'll be able to get all of these commands in the resources section of the course. They're saved as a txt file. So here is that txt file. We're going to run 4 commands. We're going to encrypt our plain text file. So we're going to encrypt secret.txt called encrypted secret. We're then going to decrypt it into another text file called decrypted secret. Then going to run re-encrypt, and this is going to take our encrypted secret and encrypt it, basically decrypt and then re-encrypt it, except it doesn't create a plain text file when it does that. And then we're just going to quickly look at this command, which is enable key rotation. We won't be able to do it using our current user simply because they do not have administrator access or they do not have permissions access to the key, but you still need to know this command going into your exam because you will be tested on it as well. So let's go ahead and grab our key ID. You can see it appears here 3 times. I'm here in the AWS console. All I need to do is click on services and I need to go to identity access management. I'm going to go over to my encryption keys. I'm going to change my region to I think it was London. And in here, I'm going to grab my key ID. So this is my key ID here. I'm going to copy that into my clipboard. I'm just going to paste it 3 times into my text file so I can just literally cut and paste these commands as we go. So let's go ahead and paste that. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. So I'm going to copy this into my clipboard, and we're going to create our first file, which is encryptedsecret.txt. Okay, so we'll quickly just check this directory. We've just got secret.txt. If I cat that, we can see that it just says hello cloud gurus. Let's paste the first command in here. So we have now just encrypted it using our encryption key, and we've called it encryptedsecret.txt. If I type in ls, I can see that I've got a new file, encryptedsecret.txt, and if I cat encryptedsecret.txt, I can see that it is encrypted. It is no longer in plain text. Let's go ahead and clear the screen. I'm going to grab my second command, which was to decrypt my encrypted secret. So I'm just going to copy that into my clipboard. I'm going to paste it in here and hit enter. And then if we type in ls, we can now see decryptedsecret.txt. If I cat that, decryptedsecret.txt, there you go, it's been decrypted. Last thing I want to do is just re-encrypt the file. So I'm going to do this using the first encrypted secret. So I'm just going to clear the screen, and here we can see the re-encrypt command. So I'm just going to copy that in there, and it's going to encrypt it into new encryption.txt. So I'm going to paste that into my clipboard, from my clipboard, and if I type in ls, I can now see this file, and this file is now called newencryption.txt, so newencryption.txt, and if I cat that newencryption.txt, you can see it's now encrypted again. So I'm going to clear the screen, and we're going to look at our fourth command, and this is to enable key rotation. So AWS KMS enable key rotation. If I type that in and hit enter, interestingly, this user does have the privilege to do that, so I was mistaken when I said that they would not have the privilege. So we have now enabled key rotation on this, and the key rotation will just rotate this key every single year so that it's a new key each year. So let's go ahead and have a look at my exam tips. So what are my exam tips for KMS? You do need to know these 4 API calls and what they do. So we've got AWS KMS Encrypt. And this is at the command line, but if you were using, if you were using the SDKs, the key ones are encrypt, decrypt, re-encrypt, and then enable key rotation. So encrypt will encrypt it, decrypt it will decrypt it, re-encrypt will basically take your encrypted one, and instead of decrypting it into plain text, it will decrypt it, but it will re-encrypt it immediately and destroy the plain text one straight away. And then finally, if you want to enable key rotation, you just need to say enable key rotation. Very straightforward. That's pretty much all you really need to know about the API calls going into the Developer Associate exam. You will need to understand what a master key is and what envelope encryption is as well. So we're going to cover that off in the next lecture. So if you've got the time, please join me in the next lecture. Thank you.